Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! Underneath the warm glow cast by the smartphone, Gyro's digital metamorphosis began. His bedroom, once enveloped in darkness, now bore witness to the magic unfolding in his palms. With each flick of his fingertips, Gyro witnessed a new version of himself, unrecognizable yet captivating. He became a mesmerized audience to his own transformation. His ordinarily unruly blonde mane gracefully extended. Its new length emphasized his now pronounced, angelic features. The face he knew so well transformed entirely, revealing lush eyelashes that seemed to dance in delight with his effervescent gaze. His cheeks, once flat, appeared more contoured, asserting their place amidst the symphony of makeover. Sometimes subtle changes, a touch of lip gloss here, a hint of blush there. Other times dramatic transformations that left him breathless, hardly able to tear his gaze from the stranger yet not stranger staring back through the screen. A notification popped up, shattering the spell. Gyro blinked, suddenly aware of how much time had passed. With a guilty start, he closed the app and set his phone aside. But even as he tried to focus on other things, his mind kept drifting back to those tantalizing glimpses of another self. Over the next few days, Gyro found himself returning to the filters again and again. Each time, it became a little harder to dismiss as mere curiosity or a passing whim. The face that gazed back at him from the screen felt increasingly familiar, increasingly right. "What are you doing?" The voice startled Gyro so badly he nearly dropped his phone. He whirled to find his roommate Phoebe leaning against the doorframe. One eyebrow quirked in amusement. Nothing. Just messing around with some stupid app," Gyro stammered, face flushing as he scrambled to close out of the filters. But he wasn't quite fast enough. Phoebe's eyes widened as she caught a glimpse of the screen. "Wait, was that you? Holy cow, you look amazing!" Gyro froze, heart pounding. He braced for mockery or disgust, but Phoebe's face showed only genuine enthusiasm. "Seriously, let me see!" She bounded over, plopping down beside him on the bed. After a moment's hesitation, Gyro reopened the app with trembling fingers. "Wow," Phoebe breathed as they swiped through different looks together. "You're gorgeous. I mean, you always look good, but this is next level." Something in Gyro's chest loosened at her words, a tension he hadn't even realized he'd been carrying. You really think so?" Phoebe nodded emphatically. "Absolutely. Hey, have you ever thought about trying some of these looks in real life?" Gyro's breath caught. I don't know. Maybe, but I wouldn't even know where to start." A slow grin spread across Phoebe's face. "Well, lucky for you. Fashion happens to be my specialty. What do you say we do a little experimenting?" Over the next few weeks, Gyro's world exploded with possibilities he'd never dared to imagine before. Phoebe threw herself into the role of stylist with gleeful abandon, returning from shopping trips laden with bags full of clothes and accessories. "Okay, close your eyes," Phoebe instructed one afternoon, practically vibrating with excitement. Gyro complied, heart racing as he felt soft fabric settle around his shoulders. "All right, open!" Gyro's eyes flew open, a gasp escaping as he took in his reflection. A flowing maxi dress in a delicate floral print skimmed his frame, making him appear taller and more graceful. The cut accentuated his waist, while cleverly minimizing broader shoulders. "What do you think?" Phoebe asked, watching his face intently. Gyro swallowed hard past the lump in his throat.
I love it.
From there, it was as if floodgates had opened. Each new outfit brought fresh revelations, allowing Gyro to explore different facets of femininity. Some days it was casual looks, skinny jeans paired with flowy blouses that made him feel effortlessly chic. Other times they ventured into more dramatic territory with cocktail dresses that left Gyro breathless at his own transformation. As the weeks passed, Gyro found himself gravitating more and more towards feminine presentation even outside of their dress-up sessions. It started small, a touch of tinted lip balm here, a slightly more fitted shirt there, but gradually the changes became more noticeable. "Hey, did you do something different with your hair?" a coworker asked one morning. Gyro's hand flew self-consciously to his blonde locks, which he'd begun growing out and styling in softer waves.
"Oh, just trying something new,"
he mumbled, face heating. The coworker smiled.
"Well, it looks great. Really suits you."
As Gyro's confidence grew, so did his willingness to push boundaries. With Phoebe's encouragement, he began incorporating more overtly feminine pieces into his everyday wardrobe. A pair of women's slacks here, a floral print blouse there. Each small step felt like a victory, a piece of armor shed to reveal his true self underneath. But it wasn't until Phoebe presented him with a carefully tailored women's suit that Gyro truly felt the full impact of his transformation. "I thought you might like something for work that's a bit more you," Phoebe explained as Gyro gaped at the sleek blazer and pencil skirt. With trembling hands, Gyro slipped into the outfit. The fabric felt crisp and professional against his skin, but with an undeniably feminine cut that made his heart soar. When he turned to face the mirror, the person staring back was poised, confident, radiant. For the first time, Gyro felt like he was truly seeing himself. "Well?" Phoebe prompted gently. "What do you think?" Gyro opened his mouth to respond, but found himself overcome with emotion. Tears welled in his eyes as he struggled to find the words to express the immense gratitude and joy he felt. Phoebe's face softened with understanding. She stepped forward, wrapping Gyro in a warm hug. "You look beautiful," she murmured, inside and out. As Gyro returned the embrace, he felt a profound sense of rightness settle over him. This wasn't just playing dress-up anymore. This was who he was meant to be. The next morning, Gyro stood before his closet, heart pounding as he contemplated the day ahead. The women's suit hung there, a symbol of everything he'd discovered about himself over the past months. With a deep breath, he reached for it. The familiar rhythms of his morning routine took on new significance as Gyro carefully applied subtle makeup and styled his hair. Each gesture felt like an affirmation, a step towards embracing his true self. As he prepared to leave, Gyro caught sight of his reflection in the hallway mirror. The person gazing back was poised, professional, and undeniably feminine. A small smile tugged at painted lips as Gyro squared his shoulders and headed out to face the world. The first few steps into the office felt like walking on air. Gyro was hyper-aware of every glance, every double-take from coworkers. But as the initial shock wore off, he was met with smiles and compliments instead of the judgment he'd feared. "Wow, Gyro, you look amazing," his cubicle neighbor exclaimed. "I love that suit on you."
"Thanks,"
Gyro replied, a genuine smile spreading across his face.
"I felt like it was time for a change."
As the day progressed, Gyro found himself standing taller, speaking more confidently in meetings. It was as if shedding the ill-fitting persona he'd hidden behind for so long had unlocked a wellspring of self-assurance he never knew he possessed. By the time he returned home that evening, Gyro felt both exhilarated and utterly drained. The emotional toll of such a monumental step left him raw and vulnerable. "How'd it go?" Phoebe asked gently as Gyro collapsed onto the couch beside her.
"It was intense,"
Gyro admitted.
"but good. Really good."
Phoebe squeezed his hand.
"I'm so proud of you. You know that, right?"
Gyro nodded, blinking back tears.
"I couldn't have done it without you."
"Sure you could have," Phoebe countered, "but I'm glad I got to be part of the journey." Over the coming weeks, Gyro's wardrobe underwent a complete transformation. Phoebe helped him cultivate a style that was uniquely his own, professional yet feminine, with touches of playful flair. As Gyro grew more comfortable in his new identity, he found himself wanting to expand his horizons beyond just clothing. He signed up for a makeup class, marveling at the artistry involved in creating different looks. What had once seemed intimidating now felt like an exciting form of self-expression. One Saturday afternoon found Gyro and Phoebe huddled around a laptop, poring over websites filled with wigs in every imaginable style and color. "What do you think about this one?" Phoebe asked, pointing to a long, wavy style in a warm honey blonde. Gyro's breath caught.
"It's beautiful,"
he murmured. "But I don't know. Is it too much?" Phoebe's expression softened. "There's no such thing as too much when it comes to being yourself," she said gently. "If you love it, that's all that matters." With trembling fingers, Gyro clicked "Add to cart." When the package arrived a week later, he could hardly contain his excitement. As Phoebe helped him adjust the wig, Gyro felt a profound sense of completeness wash over him. The face in the mirror was fully, undeniably feminine, and it felt absolutely right. "So," Phoebe said with a grin, "what should we call you now?" Somehow, Gyro doesn't quite fit anymore. Gyro, or rather, the woman he had become, considered for a moment. "Jamie," she said finally. "I'd like to be Jamie." "Jamie," Phoebe repeated, testing out the name. "I love it. It suits you perfectly." As Jamie settled into her new identity, she found herself wanting to connect with others who had gone through similar journeys. She joined online support groups, soaking up advice and encouragement from those further along in their transitions. One evening, as Jamie scrolled through posts, she came across an announcement for a local meetup group for transgender individuals and allies. Her heart raced at the thought of meeting others in person, of being part of a community that truly understood her experiences. "What do you think?" she asked Phoebe, showing her the event details. "Should I go?" Phoebe's face lit up. "Absolutely! I think it would be great for you to connect with people who really get what you're going through. Want me to come along for moral support?" Jamie nodded gratefully. "That would mean a lot." The night of the meetup arrived, and Jamie found herself fretting over her outfit choice. She finally settled on a pretty sundress in a soft floral print, paired with delicate sandals. As she and Phoebe approached the cafe where the group was gathering, Jamie's stomach churned with nervous excitement. "You've got this," Phoebe murmured encouragingly as they stepped inside. The cafe was bustling with activity, filled with people of all ages and gender expressions. Jamie's eyes widened as she took in the diverse crowd, a lump forming in her throat at the realization that she was far from alone in her journey. A friendly-looking woman with short purple hair approached them, smiling warmly. "Hi there! I'm Zoe, one of the group organizers. Is this your first time joining us?
Jamie nodded, suddenly feeling shy. Yes, I'm Jamie. This is my friend Phoebe. Zoe's smile widened.
Welcome, Jamie and Phoebe. We're so glad you could make it. Come on, let me introduce you to some of the regulars.
As they made their way through the room, Jamie found herself relaxing bit by bit. Everyone she met greeted her with genuine warmth and understanding. There was none of the judgment or awkwardness she'd feared, just a sense of shared experience and mutual support. So, how long have you been out? A young woman named Alicia asked as they settled into a corner table with their drinks.
Oh, not very long,
Jamie admitted. I'm still figuring a lot of things out. Alicia nodded sympathetically.
We've all been there. It can be overwhelming at first, but I promise it gets easier. And you've got a whole community here to support you every step of the way.
As the evening progressed, Jamie found herself opening up more and more. She shared stories of her journey so far, laughing at some of the awkward moments and tearing up at others. In return, she listened with rapt attention as others recounted their own experiences, the challenges they'd faced, the joy of finally living authentically. By the time the meetup wound down, Jamie felt as if she'd known these people for years rather than hours. As she and Phoebe prepared to leave, several people pressed slips of paper into her hand with phone numbers and social media handles.
Don't be a stranger,
Zoe said, pulling Jamie into a warm hug.
We're here anytime you need us.
As they walked home, Jamie's head spun with everything she'd learned and experienced that night.
Thank you for coming with me, she said to Phoebe. I don't think I could have done it alone.
Phoebe squeezed her hand.
I'm just glad I got to be there. You were amazing, Jamie. I could see you really coming into your own tonight.
Jamie nodded, a sense of peace settling over her. For so long, she'd felt like she was adrift, searching for something she couldn't quite name. But now, surrounded by a supportive friend and a whole community of people who understood her journey, Jamie finally felt like she'd found her way home. The coming months brought a whirlwind of changes as Jamie continued to embrace her true self. She began hormone therapy, marveling at the subtle shifts in her body and emotions. Each small change felt like a victory, bringing her physical form more in line with how she'd always seen herself inside. At work, Jamie's confidence continued to grow. She found herself taking on more challenging projects, speaking up in meetings with a self-assurance she'd never possessed before. Her colleagues remarked on the positive change, noting how much happier and more engaged she seemed. One afternoon, Jamie's boss called her into his office. Her heart raced, wondering if she was about to face the discrimination she'd feared when she first came out at work.
Jamie, I wanted to talk to you about the team lead position that's opening up next month, he began.
Jamie blinked in surprise. Oh? Her boss smiled.
I've been really impressed with your work lately, the way you've been handling projects, mentoring junior team members. I think you'd be an excellent fit for the role. Would you be interested in applying?
A rush of emotion swept through Jamie. Pride, excitement, and a touch of disbelief.
Yes, absolutely,
she managed to reply. Thank you for considering me. As she left the office, Jamie felt as if she were walking on air. It wasn't just the potential promotion that thrilled her. It was the realization that living authentically hadn't held her back professionally as she'd once feared. If anything, it had propelled her forward. That evening, as Jamie recounted the conversation to Phoebe over dinner, her roommate let out an excited squeal.
Jamie, that's amazing! We have to celebrate! What do you say we go out dancing this weekend? Jamie hesitated. While she'd grown more comfortable presenting as female in everyday life, the idea of going out to a club still felt daunting. I don't know. What if people can tell? What if... Phoebe cut her off with a gentle but firm look. Jamie, you are a beautiful, confident woman. Anyone who sees you will see exactly that. Besides, it's time you got to experience the fun side of being a girl, like dancing all night in killer heels. Despite her nervousness, Jamie found herself nodding. Okay, let's do it. Saturday night found Jamie standing before her closet, biting her lip as she contemplated outfit choices. She finally settled on a slinky black dress that hugged her curves in all the right places, paired with strappy heels that made her legs look a mile long. As she applied her makeup with painstaking care, Jamie marveled at how far she'd come. The person staring back from the mirror was undeniably feminine, radiating a quiet confidence that came from finally being at peace with herself. You ready? Phoebe called from the living room. Our cab's here? Taking a deep breath, Jamie grabbed her clutch and headed out. The drive to the club passed in a blur of nervous excitement. As they approached the entrance, Jamie's steps faltered. Phoebe squeezed her hand reassuringly. You've got this, she murmured. Remember, you're just a girl out for a fun night with her bestie. As they stepped inside, Jamie was immediately enveloped in pulsing music and flashing lights. She blinked, momentarily overwhelmed by the sensory assault. But as her eyes adjusted, she found herself drawn in by the energy of the crowd. Come on! Phoebe shouted over the music, tugging Jamie towards the dance floor. Let's show these people how it's done! At first, Jamie's movements were stiff and self-conscious, but as the beat thrummed through her body, she gradually began to loosen up. She let the music guide her, swaying and twirling with increasing abandon. As the night wore on, Jamie lost herself in the joy of movement. For the first time, she truly reveled in the freedom of her body, delighting in the way her dress swirled around her legs as she danced. She caught glimpses of admiring glances from others on the dance floor, but they only served to bolster her confidence rather than make her self-conscious. During a brief break to catch their breath and grab water, Phoebe grinned at Jamie. See? I told you this would be fun! Jamie laughed, feeling lighter than she had in years. You were right. Thank you for pushing me to do this. As they made their way back to the dance floor, a tall, handsome man approached them. Excuse me, he said, smiling at Jamie. I couldn't help but notice you earlier. Would you like to dance? Jamie froze, a mix of excitement and panic flooding through her. She glanced at Phoebe, who gave an encouraging nod. I'd love to, Jamie replied, surprised at the steadiness in her voice. As the man, who introduced himself as Chris, led her onto the floor, Jamie's heart raced. But as they began to move together, she found herself relaxing into the moment. Chris was a skilled dancer, guiding her with gentle hands on her waist. You're a natural, he said, leaning close to be heard over the music. Have you been dancing long? Jamie shook her head, a shy smile playing at her lips. No, actually, this is my first time out in, well, a long time. Chris's eyebrows rose in surprise. I never would have guessed. You move like you were born for it. As they continued to dance, Jamie felt a heady rush of validation. Here she was, being admired and complimented by an attractive man who saw her as nothing other than the woman she truly was, it was exhilarating. When the song ended, Chris thanked her for the dance and disappeared back into the crowd. Jamie made her way back to Phoebe, grinning from ear to ear. "Look at you, breaking hearts on the dance floor," Phoebe teased. Jamie laughed, shaking her head. "I don't know about that, but it felt really good to just be seen as me, you know?" Phoebe's expression softened. "I do know, and I'm so happy for you, Jamie. You deserve to feel this way all the time." As they left the club in the early hours of the morning, Jamie's feet ached from dancing and her makeup was slightly smudged. But she felt more alive than she had in years. This night had been a turning point, proof that she could not only exist in the world as her true self, but thrive. In the weeks that followed, Jamie threw herself into preparing for her job interview. She pored over company reports, practiced potential questions with Phoebe, and carefully selected the perfect outfit, a tailored pantsuit in a rich navy that made her feel powerful and professional. The morning of the interview dawned bright and clear. As Jamie stood before the mirror, making final adjustments to her appearance, she was struck by how far she'd come. The person gazing back at her was poised, confident, and utterly comfortable in her own skin. "You've got this," she told her reflection, smoothing down the lapels of her jacket. "You were born for this role." The interview itself passed in a blur of questions and discussion. Jamie found herself speaking with passion about her ideas for the team, drawing on experiences both before and after her transition to illustrate her points. As she shook hands with the panel at the end, she felt a surge of pride. Regardless of the outcome, she knew she'd given it her all. A week later, Jamie's phone rang as she was preparing dinner. Her heart leapt when she saw her boss's name on the caller ID. "Hello?" she answered, trying to keep her voice steady. "Jamie, hi." Her boss's warm voice came through the line. "I wanted to let you know personally. The panel was extremely impressed with your interview. We'd like to offer you the team lead position." Joy bubbled up inside Jamie, threatening to overflow. "Thank you so much," she managed to reply. "I'm honored. I won't let you down." As she hung up the phone, Jamie let out a delighted whoop. Phoebe came racing into the kitchen, eyes wide. "What happened? Are you okay?" "I got the job!" Jamie exclaimed, throwing her arms around her friend. "I'm going to be a team lead!" Phoebe squeezed her tight. "Jamie, that's incredible! I'm so proud of you!" As they celebrated that evening with takeout and champagne, Jamie found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this point. From those first tentative explorations with filters on her phone to fully embracing her identity, both personally and professionally, it had been a whirlwind of change and growth. "You know," she said to Phoebe as they clinked glasses, "a year ago, I never could have imagined my life looking like this. I was so scared of what would happen if I let myself be who I really am." Phoebe smiled softly. "And now?" Jamie took a moment to truly consider the question. "Now, I feel like I'm finally living, not just existing, like I've unlocked a part of myself that was always there, just waiting to be set free." "To living authentically," Phoebe said, raising her glass in a toast. "To living authentically," Jamie echoed, feeling a profound sense of peace settle over her. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew she was finally on the right path. The path to being truly, unequivocally herself.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!